European citizenship is something that a lot of people are looking to get around the world, and on this channel I've actually made numerous videos talking about the best EU passport in the world. What is the best second option for non-EU citizens who want to have access to the Schengen area? But with that there comes the other side. What are the worst EU countries? What are the worst European countries to get citizenship in? What countries would I avoid like the plague? What countries don't allow dual nationality? All of these things are absolutely monumentally crucial, and in today's video I'm going to be breaking down all European countries that either have bad passports, don't allow dual nationality, or just aren't very good when you put everything together. So starting off with the first one, this passport might work for some people who might be watching this video, specifically if you are of Latin American heritage. Maybe you come from a Latin American country. That would be the country of Spain. The Spanish passport is very good travel wise, and if you come from a country maybe like the Dominican Republic, but only if you're a natural born citizen of the DR, or you are ethnically from the DR, not if you're naturalized, or maybe you come from a country like Argentina, Mexico, you can get Spanish citizenship in 2 years, because obviously these places used to be Spanish colonies, the Spanish Empire, everything, they have treaties with each other. But if you are not from these countries, if you are not from Latin America, if you don't even speak Spanish, Spanish citizenship isn't really good, because when you are thinking of naturalizing in Spain, you have to check the list of, okay, do I come from a country that allows dual citizenship with Spain? Because Spain isn't just a country that says, yes, we allow dual nationality for everyone. No, the country that you are from has to have a treaty with Spain. So if you come from a country like Portugal, any Latin American country, the Philippines also used to be part of the Spanish Empire, then fine, great. But if you come from a country that maybe doesn't have the best passport in the world, never was a Spanish colony, even if you are going to learn Spanish but you want to keep your original passport, then Spain isn't really the best option to get, in my opinion, because yes, it's a very strong travel document, but you might not be allowed to keep your passport. The next one on this list would actually be a bordering country of Spain. No, it's not Portugal. Portugal is actually a very good passport. The country would actually be that of Andorra. Andorra has a pretty solid non-European Union passport. It is actually very good. However, the main issues that I have with Andorra is that, number one, it's very difficult to get citizenship in Andorra. You know, it's not a simple process like many other European countries where it might take 5 years, 8 years, might take a little bit longer if you come from a country that they don't necessarily like or they don't want you as their citizen. But Andorra has unbelievable gatekeeping. We're not talking a couple of years, we're talking decades to get Andorran citizenship. And when you think about, okay, Andorra is not a European Union country, which might actually be an incentive for some people, but it's not a European Union country. Yes, it's a strong passport, but it's very difficult to get, and I could get an equally strong passport in much shorter time, maybe 5 years, have access to the European Union permanently, and also not have to renounce my other citizenship. For me, at that point, there is no incentive whatsoever to get Andorran citizenship unless you are absolutely content with the fact that you only want to live in Andorra, you don't want to live anywhere else. Maybe then Andorran citizenship would work, but the fact that it doesn't allow dual nationality, it's a very difficult passport to get. It takes literally decades to get. And also, from what I've seen online, Andorra is a very surveilled place. It reminds me a little bit of Singapore. Yes, I've never been, but I have seen videos of people who have gone in there. CCTV cameras everywhere. Now, with that also comes the fact that people say it's very safe, but for me, I don't like that whole dystopian aspect of being monitored all the time. So that is also something you have to bear in mind. Maybe you should go to Andorra and check if that's the country you want to live in. Personally, for me, just looking at the citizenship and passport, it's not the best option. Now, we're actually going to be focusing on the microstates for a little bit now, because the next country on this list would actually be Monaco. Now, Monaco could work great if you are a billionaire or an oligarch and you want to have a nice Mediterranean coastline lifestyle. You want to be on the yacht, then fine. But the Monegasque passport is probably not the best in the world, because yes, it's a very good travel document, surprisingly actually, for such a small country. But Monaco, again, these microstates seem to have a lot in common. One being that they are very difficult to get. It's not something where you just live in Monaco and then, oh, you apply for citizenship and you dance around with the fairies and then they will just give you the passport. No. Again, there's quite a lot of gatekeeping. Even to get residency in Monaco, you have to prove a lot. You have to be a ultra high net worth individual, which is fine. But if you're looking for an easy second passport, then Monaco definitely isn't going to be on the list. It also doesn't allow dual nationality. And another interesting thing about Monaco is that I believe you have to get your citizenship approved by the prince himself. So, you know, it's not something where someone might work for the government, someone might work for the immigration department or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. No, it will actually be, I believe, the prince himself who will decide whether you get citizenship or not. Now, some of you might think that's quite cool. Some of you might think, oh, okay, maybe I'm not too fond of one person deciding. Maybe I want to have a team deciding just so that it can be absolutely fair. So with that, in my opinion, comes the fact that Monaco probably isn't the best country to get citizenship in. Another country, again, another microstate, that would be Liechtenstein. Now, Liechtenstein is often advertised a lot as being a very good country to set up your taxes because very low taxes, not a lot of taxes need to be paid in Liechtenstein. It's a very rich country, very small country, doesn't often make news on the international space, which is actually very good. I think that is a good thing. But with Liechtenstein, once again, there are some problems that I have. Number one, very small country. You know, if you're someone who, like me, who gets bored of a place very quickly, very easily, then spending a lot of time in a microstate like that probably isn't the best option in the world. Number two, again, citizenship isn't as simple as, oh yeah, I'll live here for 5 years, I'll learn a bit of German, and then I can get the passport. No. I believe the residency is actually 14 years, so that is a lot of time to spend in such a small country. And the third one, this is actually, like I said, a pattern with microstates. They don't allow dual nationality. So if you are absolutely sure that you want to live in Liechtenstein only, then maybe this would work. But if you are someone who wants a second passport, you want multiple passports, Liechtenstein isn't going to be the country that will allow that for you because it takes far too much time to get the passport if you're looking for something quick. And even if you aren't looking for the fastest program in the world, the fact that they don't allow dual nationality, what? Your goal is to have multiple passports, but then you renounce all of your citizenships for one passport that's probably already as good as your other existing passports unless you come from a really badly sanctioned country. In my opinion, that just proves that it isn't worth it. Now, obviously, there are two countries that are completely surrounded by the Italian Republic, by Italy, that I also would not recommend getting, although Vatican citizenship isn't really something that you can get anyway unless you work for the Catholic Church. I guess maybe you're a pope, maybe then you can get Vatican citizenship, but you never are going to see any expat or any digital nomad saying, oh yeah, I'm a digital nomad in the Vatican City. That's not really an option. So Vatican City, let's just cross off right there. But San Marino, again, I wouldn't recommend because San Marino actually has a lot in common with Andorra. One being, obviously, they don't allow dual nationality, but San Marino is even harder to naturalize in because if you want to naturalize and get citizenship in San Marino, you have to live in the country for 30 years. Now, yes, the passport is very good. It's not a Schengen passport, but when you think, okay, you can either live in San Marino for 30 years, get a European Union passport that's strong for travel, but you don't have access to live in any Schengen area country. At that point, you think, okay, if I just live next door in Italy, live there for about 5 to 10 years, learn Italian, naturalize in the country, then for me, the answer is very obvious which one I would personally go for. Now, moving back to European Union passports, I have touched upon these passports a lot. Mainly the ones that I personally am not too fond of would be a country like Austria. Austria is a very cool country. It's a very beautiful country, great scenery, but the passport isn't one that I am personally too fond of for many reasons. Number one, you have some duties with the passport that I think are actually a violation of human rights. I've touched upon that before. I've done many videos talking about Austrian citizenship. Most of you will know what I'm talking about. This isn't just an Austrian problem. This is actually a problem in the Scandinavian countries as well that I really don't like. Another one being they don't allow dual nationality, and you know they have a long residency requirement. You know, it's not as simple as getting Austrian citizenship in 5 years. You know, it takes about 10 years, I believe. And dual nationality in Austria is quite strange. They allow it in some cases, but the only cases where I've really seen people be able to keep their Austrian second passport is in a few cases. Number one, if they're a big celebrity like Arnold Schwarzenegger, then they can have it. Number two, if their family are victims of the Holocaust, then Austria does allow dual citizenship. Number three, if they are naturalizing in a country where, or if they are from a country where it's impossible to give up your passport, so maybe we take a country like Argentina or Iran. If you manage to get citizenship in Austria, then maybe there'll be something there, because then they'll go, hey, look, have you renounced your citizenship? And you go, well, I literally can't, my country doesn't allow it. Maybe then they'll be a bit lenient. But other than that, Austria is not a country famous for allowing dual nationality. Actually, with this, staying on the European Union, another passport that I wouldn't personally recommend would actually be a country like the Netherlands. Now, the Netherlands, some people say that it has the best lifestyle in the world. I've been to the Netherlands numerous times. It's not really the place for me, I believe. It's a lot better than Belgium, I'll give them that. They actually have a foundation to stand on. But other than that, the Netherlands, for me, isn't really a good country to get citizenship in. Again, they don't allow dual nationality. It takes quite a long time to get the citizenship as well. You know, it's not an easy process. Some people have got it. There's a big guy on Instagram, a Brazilian guy, or well, formerly Brazilian guy, who got Dutch citizenship and he had to renounce his Brazilian citizenship. So the Netherlands could work for some people, but for me, the fact that it takes a little bit longer to get, doesn't allow dual nationality, does take it down a peg or two. I'm also going to fastly write off a bunch of regional countries in Europe, so I wouldn't recommend any citizenship in the Baltics personally, unless you are absolutely sure that you want to live in maybe Lithuania forever, then fine. But these countries not only are very difficult to get citizenship in, Estonia especially has some mad residency requirements, but they also don't allow dual nationality. Their languages are very difficult. You know, it's not something as simple as maybe a Latin language. No, a Baltic and a Uralic language. That's very difficult if you are not coming from a country maybe like Finland, where Finnish and Estonian are quite similar. If you're coming from an English-speaking country, maybe you speak English, maybe you speak another language like Romanian or Hindu or Hindi, I mean, or whatever. They're not really similar to that of Estonian, Latvian or Lithuanian, so these are very difficult languages to learn. I also wouldn't recommend any of the Scandinavian or Nordic countries. Maybe the only exception in this case would be Iceland. Icelandic citizenship is actually very good. It does take about 7 years to get it. It only takes 4 years if you are a Nordic citizen already. Icelandic citizenship is very good. The Icelandic language is a dying language, isn't really used a lot outside of Iceland, but if you want to learn it, there are definitely platforms out there. I spent about 8 months studying Icelandic, so it is definitely possible. The passport is very good. You don't really have a lot of downsides to it, other than the fact that if you don't come from a Nordic country, it might take 7 years. And again, if you're someone who gets bored of a place really easily, then that might impact it. But if you are content with the fact that you only want to live in Iceland for the rest of your life, then Iceland might definitely work. But for the rest of the Nordic Union, Scandinavian, Nordic system countries, I'm personally not too fond of them. Yes, they allow dual nationality, but they do have some other flaws in my opinion. You know, you've just seen in the news recently that Finland has just increased the requirements to get citizenship. Now, yes, there are arguments to be said that if you want to get a citizenship in a country, then you should definitely integrate in the country. That's fine. I don't have a problem with Finland's policies. I think actually all of them that they've just introduced are good. They have some duties already that I'm not too fond of, but the fact that they finally introduced legislation that says you should learn the Finnish language, that's fine. That's fine. I actually completely agree with that. But there are some other things with the Nordic passports that I'm not too fond of. Now, the final region that we're going to be talking about would be that of the Balkan countries. The countries in the Balkans, all of these countries are in the former country of Yugoslavia. Now, most of these passports are actually very good. You take a passport like the Serbian passport, is fantastic. The North Macedonian passport is very good. You know, the Bosnian passport isn't that great, but it's still actually quite good. There's the Croatian and the Slovenian passport is great, but there's one country that a lot of people still advertise, even though their citizenship by investment program isn't around anymore. And for me, I don't think it's the best passport in the world if you are looking to diversify. That would be the country of Montenegro. Now, the reason why I say that is because Montenegro, yes, is a very solid passport. It's actually a very good passport. But it's not European Union. So if you only want to live in maybe the Balkan area, then fine, it does work for you. but it doesn't allow dual nationality. I believe they only allow dual nationality with their citizenship by investment program, but because that's not a thing anymore, you're not really going to get Montenegrin dual citizenship unless maybe you are from there originally, or maybe you are coming from a country that doesn't allow you to renounce your citizenship. Maybe then the two countries can be a little bit lenient. But dual nationality isn't a big thing in that country from what I can tell. All in all, you know, there are a lot of countries around the world, but in this video specifically around Europe, there are a lot of people advertise as being, oh yeah, you can get Montenegrin citizenship in 6 months and it's a very easy process. Doesn't work that way with citizenship. Always ensure that what you're doing is legal, justifiable, and ethical. That for me are the monumental things. You know, you should always get citizenship with good intentions. Now, those good intentions can be very different. That can either be you want to invest in the country, spend time in the country, give value to the country, whatever it is. But just be very wary of people who are trying to sell you a digital course online, or maybe you look up something about a passport and you get a sponsored advertisement for some firm that you've never heard of. I would be careful. Maybe you're starting to get emails from people saying, oh yeah, you can get Slovenian citizenship for 30,000 euros in 6 months. No way in hell that's a legitimate program, because if it would be, every person and their dog would be selling that course legitimately and it would die out. But it's not on any official government website, so that's always a pretty big red flag when you know it's not legit. So just always be a bit aware that people might be trying to sell you a country without talking about the downsides. Well, hopefully this video has helped a little bit on the downsides of some countries that are being advertised. You know, you take a country like Spain or Montenegro especially. They often said, oh yeah, very easy to get citizenship here. Well, it might work for some people, but not everyone. Let me know what you think about the points that I've raised in this video, and if you like this video, you can click right here to subscribe to this information on YouTube, and if you want to follow me on my other social media, you can follow me on Instagram, X, and Rumble. That will be linked down below in the description.